Okay. Hi. Hi, I'm Tim Van Devender. I'm going to hook up all of the ZA Elettronica Knight Rider Season 1 and 2 dash panel boards. Alessandro Zagni sent me these last week. I'm finally going to connect them all together and power them up. I have not done this. I read through the manual. I'm going to follow the manual and plug them all in, turn it on, and show you what happens. Alright. The manual goes into great detail on the functions of the boards. It is 38 pages. I did a video earlier showing the wiring diagram for the P and P buttons. In this case I have the lamp for the power, so you'll see the power come on when I turn the power on. I do not have the switches wired in because you have to solder those in. I haven't done that yet. I do not have the dash electronics from the actual Trans Am wired in, so there's no sensor readings. I'm just testing the board's powering up. In the manual, he's got a description of each board. He's got a description of the wiring harnesses. There are 9 different cables that go between the different electronic boards. He's got instructions on how to solder it onto your dash in the car. And sensors. It's pretty comprehensive. The main board is the RPM board. This board seems to be the center for pulling in all the data from the car. This board also has its own processor. This is the miles per hour board. It has its own processor, but it connects to the RPM board via a cable through the voice box, actually. He's using the new CAN bus system that new cars have, which is pretty cool. So that's how the boards are communicating to each other, via the CAN bus. But it allows everything to be integrated and programmed. It's pretty sick. So back to the manual. He's got a picture of each side of each board, a description of what each thing is on the board, front and back. Picture of the connectors with numbers so you know where to hook them up. Okay. I'm going to start with mile per hour board, MPH. Quick description, it's got the digital readout and the bar graph display for speed. These 4 indicators he's using for turn signals and running lights and high beam. This is a backlight for the little display that says MPH. There's 2 different versions of that he sent, because there's 2 different versions on the show. Same with the RPM logo, he's got the backlight. There's a trip meter, and this is where the vacuum fluorescent display would be. On the show, he's got an LED version of this. I ordered the blue. He's got 2 different software programs written to display either real car information or the phrases from the show. And you can select using control panel buttons. You can go through and select through the menu system which option you want. Right now I'm going to let's see if I can show it to. Okay, here's the back. So the back of the board. This board also has the MP3 player on it. So there's a USB port if you want to plug in your own USB thumb drive with MP3. There's also a card slot here, an SD card. Looks like micro SD card slot for the MP3 player. I don't see the card in there, so that'll be interesting. Here's the connector, the CAN bus that goes to this board. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Here's the cable. Each cable's labeled. It's got a number on it, which matches the number listed in the manual. It also has the destination, where that connector goes, MPH, voice box. So the MPH board goes, they only go in one way, that's nice. Okay, fits pretty securely. Some of the boards I noticed the connectors are mounted at an angle, and at first I thought, oh, that's kind of weird. I thought it might be an issue, but then looking at it a little bit better, I think that's actually on purpose to allow you to get the connectors in better. Which, if that's really what I'm thinking, it's kind of a nice feature. Alright. Moving on to the next board. This is a description of all of the options in the software menu system. So that's pretty cool. Okay, the voice box. Okay, here's the front. Got our standard display, 16 LEDs up. These are the countdowns on the outside, and then Auto Cruise Normal Pursuit. I have the Season 2 colors. It came with the Season 1 colors, which are yellow and blue. I like the orange and the red better. Personal choice, I'm going Season 2. I noticed he's got this really nice ABS plastic bezel. The inlays, they've all got a textured, semi-gloss sort of textured look to it. They fit in very nicely. I haven't seen it lit up yet. What I noticed is this bezel fits pretty flat down over the board, except right here at the top there's some jumpers, riser pins that go through from the bottom board to the top board, and the soldering connection to the top. Very nice, cleanly done. The ABS plastic, I'm going to have to trim about 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch off there to fit this snugly down over that. I might have to do that to get it to fit centered up and down over the Vox display. I haven't done it yet, but I'm thinking I might need to do that. So. Okay. Back side of the board. Next page here describes the back side of the board. So we've got a couple of connectors here. This is the connector to the RPM board. This is a connector to the countdown. So here's the LED countdown. The LED countdown does not come with a wiring harness because I'm assuming, because he doesn't know exactly how you're going to have to route the wires to get from here to here. So he gives you a harness with a connector on the voice box end that plugs in. I can read it wrong. Countdown 6 p.m. That's right here. Okay. You go ahead and just solder these up at whatever length you need them. It's also the way the harness comes going to your stock dashboard electronics. You have a loose harness hanging off the end. I'm not going to go over that tonight. It goes from this board out. There's a bundle of cables here. The other end of that is loose like this, down on the floor. Okay, I'm not going to worry about the box because I haven't soldered it up. Okay, so connector 1, this goes to the RPM board, this goes to the mile per hour board. Connector 5 down here goes to ZA Elettronica switch pod, so it's already ready for that. This will go to the left-hand switch pod. So the switch pod connections are already here, even though they're not even out yet. They'll be out in February next month. The connections to the switch pods are right here. That's pretty cool. There's an RCA input, so if you have a computer hooked up to your system that's doing running your voice recognition and replying, playing videos, whatever. This is the RCA out for voice, so it'll make your get voice from your computer activate this. I will be using that. I think I got it all. Okay. So, right now I'm going from the mile per hour board to the box. Voice box. This is one of those connections I was mentioning is angled because it's facing into the board over the next set of electronics there. So yes, that was definitely necessary to have it at an angle. And then the voice box to the RPM is the next one. Hopefully you can see this. Click sound was the bezel slipping over there. I should probably set this aside for now so I don't scratch it. Alright. Okay, the next board is the tachometer RPM board. Let's see if there's a picture of that. Lost it. Here's the front. Okay, RPM board connections 1 1. Okay. Tachometer RPM board. Digital display for tach. This is reading the engine. I have a V8 TPI. This is reading the actual RPM on the engine in hundreds. In the show, they're pretending they have a turbine, so they're displaying that as 1,000 RPMs, KRPM. For cool display, can't wait to see that. This also has, this is all listed on his website, by the way, and you can download the manual so you can see exactly what all the functions are. I'll quickly, since I'm here talking about it, there we go. Okay, revolutions per minute. He also has reading from your sensor data on the car via the dashboard. So it's the dash it's the dash sensors. It's not the ECM. It's the dash sensors. He has coolant, temperature, oil pressure. There's a connector to go to the PA&P buttons, which I stashed. It's actually part of this loom here. There's a power management, so that when you push the power button, the entire set of electronics does the startup sequence, it turns on. There's a USB socket again if you want to do a firmware upgrade. There's a USB socket on here, I believe. And there's also connectors between the boards. Okay. So the main connector is this big old guy here, number 4, and this goes to a giant wiring ring. I'll kind of get it tucked down here out of the way, but you can see over inside here. The wiring ring has the 12-volt power, connectors to your dashboard, and to the PA and P buttons. And there's a description of each wire, what it does, the color, the number, all that stuff is in there. 12-volt positive, sorry. Right. I guess that's right in there, just like the other ones. And then, okay. There's a connector on each side. And I flipped it over. Hold on. Okay. Okay. There are 2 connectors left. The left one is both on the left and right sides. One goes to the box using the harness. The same one portion on the other side connects to the 6 row. Okay. I'm going to assume, it doesn't actually say this, but I am going to, they're actually, let me do this. There are actually 2 harnesses in this rubber band here. The second harness, I believe is for the PA and P buttons. Okay. Now, it doesn't say explicitly that, I'm going to do this here without damaging you. It doesn't say left or right goes which direction, but I'm going to assume that as the box is in the middle between these 2 boards, that's where it goes on this side. By the way, I'm taking notes on all of this. For Alessandro, he asked me to do this. I'm going to send him an email with a bunch of suggestions when I'm done. One of them being to specify exactly left or right, which harness goes where here. Okay. 6 row, 3 row. Okay. The next board is this 6 row. Okay. The 6 row board are just the telltale LEDs that read up and down. They scan back and forth. I don't believe it has any actual function on it. Just a light pattern. Okay. And this one connects. There we go. 6 row, 3 row. So this goes from here to the next 3 row. 3 row to 3 row. Keyboard. There we go. There's a little keyboard. And a little tiny short one is the RPM board to the 6 row. Okay. So in this one, he's got a nice picture of the front and the back. The back's labeled. So here he's got a bus connector for future expansion. Number 2, this goes to the 3-row. Number 3 is the short one going off to my right, to your right. This connects to the RPM board, and then there's a little bitty one down here. Actually, I guess that's bigger. This goes to the little keyboard. So, 6-row RPM, there we go. Click. Alright. This guy's gonna go. Oh, click. It didn't stick. Huh. Alright. That one slid right back out. That should work. Having to twist the wires are kind of opposite when connectors up, one's down. Do you believe? Okay. Oh, they were right. Okay. So RPM is connected. I need to go to the 3-row from the RPM. Oh, put the little keyboard on so we can test out the menu. Keyboard. Keyboard. And 6-row, 3-row. Most of these connectors are different sizes. There are a number of 4-pin connectors. You have to make sure. If this was an Apple product, they would be color coded, but Apple doesn't let you open up the case, so don't worry about that. Alright, so now I gotta go to my 3-row. There's 2 3-row boards, and they are different. So these go down at the bottom next to your P and P buttons. One of these boards, he's actually programmed with functions. If you look at the overlay, it has instant, like average miles per gallon, distance remaining on your tank, and I think it says range and miles, something like that. Anyway, it's information that can be calculated using your fuel consumption rate. So if you know how fast you're going, you know how far you've gone on a tank, and you know how much gas you have left, you can calculate these items. So it's pretty cool. He's put these on these, so it's real information. It's not like easy to read, but it's real information that's displayed. I believe that's on this board. Through connectors. Yes, okay. This is right here on the manual. Read your manual. Fuel in gallons, miles per gallon, and range estimate. So there's, yeah, miles per gallon, the number of gallons left, and your range estimate on this display. This one does this up and down scanning. Just like the 6-row telltale. Same thing with 3. Okay. The way you tell them apart, if you look at the boards, they are identical. I cannot tell them apart until I flip them over. When you flip them over, they look almost identical, except one has 2 connectors, the other only has 1 connector. This is the one that goes on the end. This is the one that goes in the middle. Let's see here. Okay, number 1 goes to the 6-row. Number 2 goes to the 3-row. It makes sense when you plug it in left to right. or 3-row. Colors are the same on both connectors, both ends, so it doesn't matter. Oh, it's upside down though. These only fit in one way. If you put them in upside down, there's little slots that keep you from sliding them in. So good connectors. Okay. One more. Okay. Now, I have everything powered up, or sorry, not powered up, everything is connected. Yeah, okay. I did a video earlier. He sent what he's calling a diode board. It basically has some diodes to keep the DC positive, DC negative flowing in the correct direction so you don't reverse your polarity and burn out your electronics. He recommends that you solder this in. I did that earlier. It's hanging over here by my power supply. I added a 12-volt regulated power supply to it so that when my car's voltage goes up and down as the alternator kicks on and off, and it sort of varies by about half a volt in this cycle up and down as the engine's running and as especially when the AC kicks in, the compressor. So I put the 12-volt regulated power supply on there so that it gets a constant 12.3 volts, and I don't have to worry about LEDs that sort of fade in and out, or lights, the 12-volt power, the lamps, they're not going to sort of do the little up and down thing. That would drive me crazy. So, okay, let's turn on the power and see what happens. Power supply here is running 12.8 volts. Okay. Okay. Well, 13.8 volts is what my car runs. Normally, you see the power light came on. There are some LEDs on the back. He mentions this on his website. He's got some white LEDs on the back of his boards so that if you ever need to look back down under here to see your original dashboard gauges, there's some little LEDs back here to help you see those. It's for diagnostic purpose. There's one behind the mild power board and there's one behind the tack. So there's one behind the speedo and one behind the tack. Okay. Now, according to the manual, on wiring loom E, the brown wire connects to wiring loom C pink wires via this button. So normally you would push this button. I have not wired these buttons up yet. This lamp is lit by some alligator clips back there. It's not soldered together. So I'm going to cheat, emulate it. I put a piece of tape over my cable here so I didn't accidentally hit a hot 12 volt on something. Alright. So that's what happens when you hit the power button. I did the countdown. I don't have speakers hooked up. That's also part of this wiring loom, I assume. Put the tape back on so I don't bump this. Sorry. Gotta be safe than sorry here. I'll come back to that in a minute. Alright, and I'm going to move the camera slightly. So we can get a better view of what's going on here. Alright. So currently, I've got 0 miles per hour. The trip meter's at 0. Here he's reading off. Okay, got 12.2 volts. So that's the voltmeter. Fuel gauge, 100%. Oil pressure high because we don't have our sensors. Service at 3,000 miles. When I ordered this product, Alessandro sent me a form to fill out, and he asked me a whole bunch of questions to customize this display. So I asked for oil service every 3,000 miles. I asked for miles per hour versus kilometers, stuff like that. So it's all programmed. Oh, it also has your odometer. Your odometer reading is in here, so my odometer is coming up on 121,400 miles, so that's the odometer reading I asked for. I'll try to switch it out as close to that as possible. Okay, our Vox lit up. Normal cruise mode. The 4 countdowns came down. It's very nice, evenly spaced. I don't see any highlights. Looks pretty good. This is pretty bright light in here, and everything is lit up. Looks good. Now, one thing I hadn't thought of with the regulated power supply is it's reading 12.2 volts instead of the actual voltage on the car. So I might have to rethink this power supply idea, but I kind of like it because that way I don't have to worry about the voltage on certain things. But alright. The next board, mile per hour. Here's our backlight. We've got 2 scanning telltales. The engine data. Here's the 6-row scanning. The nice thing is they kind of look like they're scanning randomly. They're not just going in a sequence, which is pretty obvious to pick up. They look like they're actually doing something. That's kind of cool. These guys are scanning back and forth. These are all red. This one is red and green. I honestly couldn't tell you if it's like that in the show. I'd have to go look. I don't remember. So this one has red on the outsides and green in the middle. This one is all red. This looks pretty cool. Everything seems to be working so far. I'm jazzed. Okay. I'm going to go through some of the menu functions on the VFD here. Sorry, I'm going to move you once again so that you're zoomed in a little bit on the mile per hour board, the speedometer with, pardon me while I adjust. Okay. Yeah, I can see all the voltage regulators changing that. I don't know if that's a problem or not. I'll think about it. Okay, initial setup, electronics, so it plays the MP3s as it counts down. Okay, I'm going to go for the description of the menus. Okay, you can set the time. Oh, another feature you can do is when the lights on the dashboard kick on. When you turn your headlights on, the dash lights up. These will dim automatically. There's settings here for exactly what level dimness you want, how bright you want them. Kind of like your dimmer switch on the dash. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to do the different mode here. Okay, mode A is showing you the car values. That's the default. Mode B shows you phrases from the show. So, with my buttons, my 5 groovy buttons. Yes, I have kids. Okay, so left to right, there's writing on the little board here, so push button 5. Okay, there we go. And push button 5 and boom, I'm into the sequence showing all of the different text from the show. Now, if there is like a check engine light, some kind of warning, it will interrupt this sequence and it will display what that is, no matter what mode you're in. Okay. You can also manually go up and down through the phrases. So if you decide, oh, let's see, I really like FT imaging. You can cycle through them manually. I'm pushing button number 3 here to go down. And one thing I'm noticing here is in the show, autos suck. That's pretty funny. Wow, there's a lot of these. I don't think I've ever sat down and actually watched the whole sequence there. Wait, you can go up and down. Button 3 and 4. Okay, FT imaging. In the show, it scrolls, so I'm gonna have to ask him about that. I'll add that to my list. Okay. So here it is, guys. It's pretty cool. I'm gonna go handheld. Give you one last look. Pretty exciting. Thank you for listening.